Good evening, good evening. Welcome to Momentum Chat. I am Majida Bay.
And I am John Epstein. Happy New Year. Merry Christmas, everyone. Last
Absolutely.
one for the year.
Yes. This is our last and final show for 2021. And to finish out our ABCs of Wealth series, we're going to be talking about Zeal and Zero. So if you're like, what in the heck is this all about? Hey, you want to stay tuned, grab a pen, grab a paper, pad, like and share this, and we'll get started in just a moment.
All right, let's get it.
Good evening once again. I am Majida Bay, your financial conductor, and joined as always by my friend, coach, mentor, life and financial strategist, Mr. John Epstein Jr.,
Thank
uh,
you.
senior financial broker in the financial services industry with over 20 plus years of experience. Coming up on 21, right, John?
Coming up on 21 in February. Is that crazy?
Awesome. That's awesome. Well, I like multiples of seven, right? Like I don't know. I could be saying this wrong, but seven is like the number of completion, right? So like multiples of seven. I don't know.
Very true. Very true. As you know, it's a lot of sevens in my phone number.
Absolutely. Yes. Yes.
Everybody comments on that too. Everywhere I go, if I say my cell phone number, they're like, "That's a lot of sevens." I'm like, "Yeah." I wish I could say I'm complete, but
The process, right? Completion is a process.
completion is a process, and I like to believe that I'm thriving towards completion in my holistic way of thinking. But yeah, multiples of seven, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny, as you know about our daughter, she was on bed 7 for 7 weeks
Mm.
at the hospital. Isn't that crazy?
Wow.
And she completed her task there. So yeah, I agree. 7 is a big deal. But this is going to be a completion for this particular series of how we're doing this and the ABCs of Wealth, which was an incredible idea. That was your idea. That wasn't my idea.
Thank you.
I just played into it, but I think it was incredible. I think ending it on this Z today with Zeal and Zero. I'm sure people who will watch this is like, what the heck, Zeal and Zero? But I think it rings true. And of course, I don't think you thought about this in the beginning, but I think it rings true as we end this year, 2021, going into 2022, that we talk about Zeal.
Mm-hmm.
We talk about those types of things. So it's going to be fun to be here, but this has been a great ride. I know it's been a few weeks I've missed, and we've made some adjustments, but that's the cool thing about us controlling it.
Yeah.
We have the freedom to do that. So
Totally agree. So real quick, John, I know we missed you maybe a week or two. What's been going on? What's new?
Well, had a great Christmas. It was a really quiet Christmas. The daughter and the puppy got their gifts. Santa, if you will, showed up and took care of them. Of course, I'm Santa.
Yeah.
but like I tell my family, I'm just a resource, right? God is our source. So he provided, and we had fun. We're a pretty simple family because we kind of live every day like it's Christmas. Like if we want something, we go get it. And, we kind of reward ourselves as we go and stuff like that. Kind of make some changes around the house. I'm at my home today doing this. So it's fun. So we had a good time. I'm still dealing with some health challenges. So, to bring people up to speed, I've been dealing with a back issue probably since 1994. Really 1992, but we'll say diagnosed and moved 1994. And it's come to the head that I'm going to need back surgery.
Oh, wow.
So the beginning of 2022, I'm going to be going under the knife for the first time in my life.
Oh.
Yeah, not fun, but I think I've come to to grips with it, and my team of doctors has said I've done a great job in doing all that I can do on my end, keeping myself healthy, keeping my weight under control, keeping my core strong, those types of things. But now it's a nerve issue. Mm-hmm. So there's some things that need to happen for me to be back to where I was. Like, I haven't been in the gym since, oh my gosh, October or something. So I'm going crazy a little bit mentally. I think I'm gonna need to call my therapist. Since I can't go to the gym, I'm gonna need to call my therapist. But that's what's going on. I'm still excited about my life. I'm happy to be here. It's been some friends of mine have told me I've had a rough year, they say. Two of them specifically said I had a rough year because I didn't realize it. They started naming all the things that happened this year. I lost my brother this year. And then, as you know, recently I lost what I consider a brother. Both went home to be with the Lord. And then there's some other things that transpired, but to me, it's just life. And I'm happy to be breathing, oh my gosh. Like, somebody was complaining the other day, Sunday, about something. I was like, well, at least I can feel it. It's like, hey, it's raining. At least I can feel it. At least I can. How many people are probably in a bed, can't get up, can't move out, can't go.
Yeah.
And they can't feel the rain on them. I promise you, they want to feel the rain on them. Right. So it's all about perspective. So that's what's been going on with me. I'm still happy. Of course, there's challenging times, right? But life isn't about what happens to you; it's about how you react to it. So,
absolutely.
And you've known me for a while. I mean, and you've seen me go through some challenging stuff. But what else are we gonna do?
Yeah.
I ain't gonna complain about the gas prices when I know I'm still gonna buy gas. Like, it doesn't make sense, right? I'm still gonna buy eggs. It's going to happen.
Yeah, if life was
why complain about it?
Yeah, what would be the fun or like the zeal even, right, in overcoming those obstacles? And
absolutely. Absolutely. I think people respect you, respond to you based off of how you respond in adversity. Not really how you respond in success. Success is easy, right? It's easy to pray to God when stuff is going horrible, right? But can you pray when things aren't going so good? I mean, when they're going really good,
Yeah.
People watching that stuff, Are you a complainer all the time? Do you, is that the aura you bring, right? Are you a gossiper? Like, when you get with certain people, like, it's certain people I know that we get with them, we're going to get some gossip. We just kind of know it, right?
Yeah.
But that's something they have to work out in their own life. That's not me to, I still love them. All right. But that's not me to, but I do know in my own brain that if they'll gossip to me, they'll gossip about me. Yeah. It's okay. That's why I try to live a pretty clean life. If you're going to gossip, you're going to gossip about good stuff.
Yeah.
About me. I mean, or you're going to make something up. That's pretty much how that's going to go. Right? Because I know I treat people well. I go out of my way to do so. And somebody just commented about that. They're like, you really go out of your way to, like, learn our waitresses' names and stuff like that. Just, to me, it's common courtesy. Right? But also, yes, I have an ulterior motive. I want to be treated well. Right? Makes sense. If you learn your waitress's name and you treat them good with respect and, be patient with them and give them grace, they're probably going to treat you very well and make sure that certain things go well for you as well. Right? It's hard to not do that for a friend. Right? Yeah. So I just try to be friendly. Pretty easy. But enough about me. What about you? Because I haven't seen you in a couple of weeks either. So tell me what's up.
It's been good. I had a phenomenal Christmas. Got to see a lot of family. My cousins, their families were up from Texas. My aunt had a big shindig over her house Friday nights.
Awesome.
And so yeah, just enjoy being around the family. Yeah, being around the family. eating good food. I actually spent part of the day Friday, what was it? Learning my grandmother's recipes for a few dishes. And then
What?
Saturday. So yeah, just like
Oh my
intentional,
God.
really intentional about family time
Yeah.
over this past weekend. So really enjoyed that. I know how to make her yams now. It's gonna take a couple times, but
Right.
I got the recipe. Her corn pudding and
Yeah.
her mac and cheese. I love
Nice.
starches, so I got the
Nice.
recipes for the starches.
Yeah. Carbs, right?
yeah, that's just my deal.
Yeah. I
So
totally get it. Many of us don't take we don't some of us don't even have the opportunity to, but we don't take those types of things seriously, of like the passing down of a recipe.
yeah.
So I was glad that my mother taught my daughter and my wife certain things, right?
Mm,
That now that they do on their own, they don't even need the recipe itself anymore. They like
yeah.
just do it. And many of them have gotten better than my mother's. And I don't say that facetiously either. My mother co-signs what I just said. So, which is really cool, because if you think about it, anything you teach the next generation, they should do it better than you.
Mm.
Right? That's just a rule in life. And, some people, it's never like grandmama's. That's not a good thing, right? It's not a good thing. You should be getting better. Matter of fact, technology. I realized my grandmother did certain things with her fried chicken simply out of necessity. It wasn't because that was her way. It was just out of necessity. That's how she cooked it. Right now we have fryers and all these different things. She just didn't have that, so she did certain things. So it's really cool that you spend that type of time. But more importantly, be intentional about it. I'm sure it was a bunch of other people there, but they weren't learning the recipes. So
Oh no, it was just me. I but because we went to my grandmother Ellen Rose, her.
mm,
Went to her house on Saturday for dinner, so I went to her house Friday to learn her recipes before I went to my aunt's house. So it was just me and my children. They were
nice.
doing whatever, and I was learning grandma's recipe because my daughter asked for her corn pudding all the time. And I have
Really?
my own recipe for corn pudding, but I'm like, let me learn grandma. So I learned a couple ingredients that I don't always put in it. So I was like, oh, I got it now. So yeah, that was our weekend. I enjoyed that, and going to spend a little bit more time this week um, with a couple friends. Um, we
I'm
usually
sure
get.
your grandmother got great enjoyment out of that time with you too.
I believe so. I believe so as well. It's like she's 84. She'll be 85 next year,
Yeah.
and to still I'm not gonna say that she doesn't feel useful because I use her all the time to like watch children. And like today, I was taking the test. My daughter was at practice, and my youngest daughter was getting her hair done all at the same time. And I'm like, "Can you pick them up from getting her hair done?" So what? I get this one from practice, and so I love my family and the zeal. Right? We'll get into the topic for today. My zeal. If there's anything that I have energy and enthusiasm about, it's definitely my family.
Yeah.
So wanting a
You,
better future and
you and I both. As you know, I have a lot of zeal for my family, my wife, daughters, if you will. But even my brothers and sisters, I don't see them a lot. They're all over the place. London and Switzerland and New York and Nebraska and DC. So they're all over the place. But great zeal, and this year has made me become a little bit more intentional in reaching out to them and having more zeal to reach out to them, just knowing what's going on with them, seeing what's happening, right, and also seeing how I can help, seeing how I can impart something, and actually I started that kind of process earlier in the year when we lost my brother.
yeah.
Um, just because one of the other brothers was dealing with it in a certain way, and um, and really all I did was share what I had already experienced in myself.
Mm-hmm.
You know, some people, everybody deals with loss differently, right? The
Right.
loss of a loved one, and fortunately and unfortunately, I've lost a lot of people. 64 members of the armed forces that I served with personally. are now gone. You know, my brother made number 64 because him and I served together in the United States Navy. So those types of things, you know, especially as you're getting older, you know, I'm not as young as I once was. It makes you start thinking about that stuff, right? So even the friends of ours that, you know, we lost a buddy of mine last month. Even that group of friends, we're all like, as we get older, this is going to be happening more often, right? So it's almost saying to them, embrace for impact. But back to your topic, have zeal for the life that we still get to live.
Yeah.
Right. And honor their memories or whatever the case may be, however you play that out. But, you know, let's have zeal for the life let's not live in a funk. And
I love that.
Yeah, I don't like living in a funk. It feels like crap anyway, right? I've dealt with depression before. It's not fun, right? Every once in a while that monkey tries to creep up on my back and, you know, I got to do something to brush it off. And I think I do my best when I'm going through something and I get to go help somebody else.
Yeah.
It's like whatever I was dealing with kind of goes away, or a solution comes to the issue, which is really cool too.
Good deal. So yeah, let's dive into that a little bit more, John, in terms of zeal. So for those who may not be clear on the definition, right? Zeal means great energy or enthusiasm in pursuit of a cause or an objective. And so since our series has been on wealth, can you speak a little bit to the importance of having zeal in pursuit of wealth?
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you said that. Let's read the definition again.
Great energy or enthusiasm in pursuit of a cause or an objective.
Okay. Energy, enthusiasm, and cause are what I want to focus on. Energy, enthusiasm, and cause. First of all, you got to figure out, why do you want to build wealth? Matter of fact, what does it look like? What is life going to be like for your family? How will you be able to help people outside of your family? What does the world look like because you built wealth? Right? Many times people are concerned about other people with wealth and they want to spend that person's wealth. And that wealth has nothing to do with you. Right? And then you get mad at those people because they don't do what you think they should do with the wealth they built. Right? And I notice it's a lot of people who have zeal. They have enthusiasm and excitement about other people's wealth when it has nothing to do with you. Right? And then there's this thing I've noticed over the last probably 30 years, that many people, they think they're being humble in saying they don't want to build wealth. They think this is false humility and, oh, I don't need all of that. Well, I don't need to be rich. I just want to be comfortable, right? In my opinion, that's a selfish disposition. In my opinion, you're worse than the rich guy who doesn't give anybody anything. Seriously, I'm being very frank with you, and I know you know because I've talked about this numerous times, right? If you want to change the world, position yourself so you can. Right? You're concerned about the homeless. Can you become wealthy so you can, right? So that's what I mean by a cause, right? Like my wife and I's cause is, you know, the word of God and the advancement of the kingdom of God, right? Because I believe that's what it was really all about. But then also the eradicating of human trafficking, right? Those two causes, right? And sometimes we can get off focus. Please don't think I haven't gotten off focus over the last 30 years, right? Really the last 20, because that's when those two causes hit my radar.
Yeah.
Right. But as far as being wealthy, I've always wanted to be wealthy. I've always wanted to be able to help other people. I used to dream about seeing a homeless guy on the street and then grabbing him and rehabilitating him ourselves. Like we have a house and we set him up in that house. And for 6 months, we take him through training and, you know, get him cleaned up, get him a job. Or, you know, or he even comes work for my company, whatever the case may be. But we would do that like So like every couple months we were doing a new one and another one and another one and another, just one person at a time. Some people think we got to go out and do something big. Can you do something big for one person? That's what I'm talking about, enthusiasm and zeal, right? And if that stuff isn't, if it's not embedded in your spirit,
yeah,
at some point it's going to die out. The zeal can leave you, right? But I like the way you said it, with enthusiasm, right? For a cause. And I think that's important. And those were things, you know, of course, some of your cause should be in your zeal, should be your own family, right? The scriptures in the Bible says, right, a man who doesn't work shouldn't eat, right? A man who doesn't take care of his own family is worse than an unbeliever, right? So of course, you should be trying to take care of your family too, right? But at some point, it should be bigger than that.
Yeah.
It should be so much further than just you. We used to say in a certain circle I ran in, right? It should be more than us four and no more, right? So the wife, 2 kids. It should be more than us four and no more. No.
Yeah.
I believe God wants to get wealth to you, but first He needs to know He can get it through you.
Absolutely.
And that's what I mean by zeal and the enthusiasm. And don't get me wrong, you get beat up enough. That's why you always remind me of the scripture, don't get weary in well-doing. For in due season you'll reap a harvest if you faint not. Because there's been many times when I was fainting. I was just like tired of dealing with people. My daughter and I joke all the time, life is incredible until you bring people in. Right? Life is beautiful till people get involved, right? But the same thing that makes it beautiful is people. It's kind of like what God says. God said, being a Christian, I'm a Christian. As a Christian, really all it is loving what God loves and hating what He hates. Oh, what does He love? He loves His people. What does He hate? Sin. Isn't it funny that the two are intertwined? It's the people who are sinning. Right? So how do you love them through the sin? Right? And but life is great when you can learn that, when you can, and then you also, and I think the way you learn that is you just remember who you are. And I'm not talking about the you portray to be. I'm talking about the real you.
Yeah.
Right? That you're a sinful being. You make mistakes. You screw it up often, just like I do. Right? And then you have a little bit more grace for people who are going through stuff. People aren't difficult. They're just different.
Yeah. I deal with that quite a bit with, like, whenever I feel frustrated in dealing with my children, I think about, I'm sure God feels that way about me. Like He probably has had.
Absolutely.
Like, all right. Just calm down, have grace, like be patient. And yeah, it's a process. It's definitely a process. But like, it's like sometimes I want so much for them and I want them to see it. And I'm like, I know God was probably doing the same thing with me. Like, I want you to see this, but you caught up in whatever, you looking through rose-colored glasses, right? You got to put on some different lenses. So, yeah, I definitely see that. And I was sharing with you before we hopped on this recording, how just in recent years, I've been in a certain industry for a number of years, and it hasn't been until recently where I've like fully embraced that I'm supposed to be here, right? Like that I was meant to be here, and there's something that I'm meant to do beyond what I'm currently doing. And so
while you're there,
right, while I'm here, right? Because there was a point 5.5 years into that career, I started with our company in financial services, and I felt, kind of stagnant and, didn't feel like I was growing, and I was ready to like transition out of it because I didn't feel like that was a space that I can grow. And I actually had a conversation with the then vice president about that. Like, I like to be in an environment where I can grow. And then long story short, like 6 months after that conversation, I was offered an opportunity which allowed me to grow within this industry. And with that opportunity, I was able to show what I was capable of. and be able to, because I did, he did tell me at the time that he told me some years later, this was actually a few years ago, that he had some trepidation about promoting me because of my demeanor and my, I was kind of reserved and kind of quiet and shy and things like that. And so I didn't feel like they wanted me here, right? But recognizing that, like, you've done well here, and the way that you do things, I actually shared this with my accountability group, that what I bring to my industry is care, right? Competence, accountability, reliability, and excellence. Like, I care about the work that I do. It's not just for me getting a paycheck. It's not just, me being able to, puff my chest out. Like, I really care. I care about people.
Yeah.
And I care about the quality of the work that I do. And you don't necessarily see that in my industry. So I bring care to construction. Like, that's the way I love
it. Love it. Matter of fact, for the audience who may be listening to this or watch it later, right? Go over your care again.
Competence, accountability, reliability, and excellence.
Wow.
And I think
those are core values right there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Those are core values right there. If you can apply those 4 in any area, so forget my 6. If you can apply those 4 in any area, oh my gosh, right? Can you imagine if people apply care to their marriage, apply care to the rearing of their children? If the teacher in a public school applied care to the teaching of those children that he or she has been entrusted to? Yeah. Competence, accountability. Ooh. That's a rough one. I love that. Oh my gosh. I love it.
And I think just in general, and I'm gonna say most, but in a lot of professions, a lot of people don't care enough, right?
Yeah.
And I've heard, of course, I got to bring up Jim Rohn for to end out 2021, right? He says, if you care at all, you'll get some results. But if you care enough, you can get incredible results. And like, if we all, like you said, just brought care to the work that we do, right? Care about people, care about quality, care about even the idea. I was sharing this with a friend, like, even how we're conditioned to go to school, get good grades, get a good job, and there's no plan after you get the job. So even the idea of bringing competency into your, like, nobody's necessarily telling you to go get another degree or go get more educated or get more, certifications in your career, right? That's a decision that you decide to make. Right. But oftentimes we look at it as, why would I spend? I already got the job. Like, why would I spend more money? It's an investing in yourself, which we've talked about before. Like, that investment is adding more value to where you are and adding more competence to the work that you do.
Sure.
And so that's just something I recognize for myself. Like, I haven't invested more into learning what I'm currently doing so that I can operate at a higher level doing it,
Yeah. Which is important.
Absolutely.
Man, that was really good, Majida.
So yeah, I have zeal about personal development. That's my family and personal development. Like, get better, right? Like, whatever you do, get better.
I love it. That's super sweet, right? And I love your acronym, CARE. Right. That's pretty cool.
Thank you. So let's transition into this other Z for the wealth.
Right? Yeah, I'm curious about this.
So when people think about zero, they're like, well, this being the end of the year, right? You can kind of think of zero in a couple ways. One is at a reset point, right? You're starting from zero, right?
Absolutely.
But also in terms of investing, right? We're going to relate it to actually money. In terms of investing, the power of zero, which we understand is not losing money.
Exactly.
Right? So can you share with them the power of zero when it comes to investing?
Yeah. Well, when it comes to investing, if you don't mind, I'm going to share it in 2 different ways. One is the power of not having to start over when it comes to an investment. For example, if the market drops, right, and we're probably gonna see some corrections next year in 2022, right? But if the market drops, right, what does it take for you to get back to where you were? So, for example, the market drops 30%. What does the market have to do for you to get back to where you were? The market drops 30%, right? Most people don't know the market drops 30%. The market has to do 43 for you to get back to where you were. They don't know that, right? And that's when, at least I believe, that's what you're talking about when it comes to the power of zero, of not having to start over. So when it comes to index type products, right, like an index universal life or an index annuity or something like that, where they have a floor, right, it's a beautiful thing when you don't have to start over, especially if you're later in your life, right? But the other end of that is zero in taxes, right? How can you position yourself? How can you, using the tax code? And here's the funny thing. It's funny how people are still. So I came into the industry, 21 years ago, and it was somewhat of a battle because it was this buy term and invest the difference thing, and then it was, don't invest money in life insurance, that type of stuff, right? And here we are in 2021, getting ready to go into 2022, and you're still getting people who are saying stuff like that, right? When the industry has totally changed probably 19 times since I've been in the industry. And here's the funny thing. Our federal government, matter of fact, let me lean in a little bit. Our federal government just made some new changes in reference to some tax codes that's tied to life insurance that increases the amount of money you can shelter in life insurance legally. So I want you to think about this. In some of the life insurance policies I've designed for people, right? And if you don't know about this stuff, look up Infinity Banking or look up the 7702, right? Something like that, whatever, right? Let's say, for example, some of the plans I put together, right? The max a person could put in them is 20,000, right? Or 10,000, whatever the case may be. That number is almost doubled now. So the exact same clients I have, they used to only be able to put 10,000, 20,000 into their plan, and that money gets to grow tax deferred. And if they structure it properly, when they're ready to take cash out, no tax, right? If they follow the guidelines, that number is now doubled. Now, why would the federal government allow that? Why would that even be on the table? Why? Right? And it's so many people don't even know this. I was just sitting on a conference call about it. Now, mind you, this started at the beginning of 2021, mind you, right? The numbers have now adjusted effective this month, December, in most companies' illustration softwares, right? And the numbers almost double. It's ridiculous. So here's people who wanted to put a certain amount of money away, and now they get to put even more to aim for a tax-free retirement. What if you could have a tax-free retirement? What if you could have a tax-free way of sending your children to college through a plan like this? What if you could use these plans to do things like flip property, or I don't know, right? But it has to be designed properly. I'm an expert at that. It's not a whole lot of stuff I'll say I'm an expert at, but I'm an expert at that, right? Heck, I'm probably better at this stuff than being a dad and a husband, right? Just being, at least I'm honest about mine. All right, that's an amazing thing, and if you don't know about it, why not? You got to ask yourself, why don't you know about it? It's not like it's hidden. I don't know why everybody thinks these secrets are hidden. They're not hidden. You do have to do some research. You got to have some zeal to look over these things. But I don't know if that's where you wanted me to go with that, zero, Vegeta.
Absolutely.
But I'm excited about that. Now, mind you, I'm on the, some would say, tail end of my career. But that excited me because I know the impact it can make in a family's life if they're able to put even more away in a Roth type plan. And now that money gets to continue to grow, and you could possibly end up, if you do it right, zero income tax on those funds when it's time to use them. That's an important thing.
Absolutely.
I think that's an important thing.
That is. It really is. And I just had a conversation last night with a client of mine. She's already a client. We got her something
wow.
over a year ago. And
I'm gonna close a window. Keep talking.
okay, no problem. Yeah, we got her something a little over a year ago, and then she wanted to. She got some protection. She's a registered nurse. Oh, no, sorry, she's a nurse practitioner, and so she really understands the value of life insurance, and wanted to make sure she had something in place. And she was transitioning at the time we set up her first plan, and so she's in a much better position now, earning a significant amount more money. And so she wanted to get, one of those products that you're talking about. And so we did the paperwork, submitted the application. She got approved, preferred elite, and she really had a conversation with a family member who suggested that she not invest in that particular plan. And like you said, it's back to education. Because life insurance has evolved over time, a lot of people who speak against it aren't aware of the changes that have occurred and the opportunities that are available. So through education, I had a conversation with her, shared with her some of the things that you talked about: tax-free access, tax-free death benefit to her heirs, and things like that. And the ability for her money to grow and her not lose money, right? The power of zero in terms of being able to participate in the growth of the market with none of the downside risk. And so after I explained that to her, she's like, all right, I'm gonna move forward, and oftentimes we have to, something you taught me a long time ago, we have to seek wise counsel. People that we love and we trust with certain things in our life, we don't necessarily need to trust them in other areas of our life, right?
Right.
A person skilled in the handling of money can educate us about how to invest in money. And not that person may not, maybe they've done some things differently or some things have worked well for them, but that doesn't mean there aren't other options that do offer better protection and some guarantees that traditional plans don't offer. So it's just being educated, right? And being able to share that information with people so that they understand that they have options and they can choose, right? We don't have to just do what everyone's always done, right? Everyone's invested in 401ks or put their money in savings and put it in banks. And we continue to do that, even though we see that outcome for people may not be what we desire.
Yeah, the most advantageous. We're dealing with the first generation to ever retire off of a 401k. Because 401ks aren't that old.
Right.
Right. So if you think about it, the baby boomers aren't a group of people who are retiring off of 401ks. They're retiring off of pensions and Social Security, personal savings.
Yep.
Right. But now we're moving into, I guess you would say, part of my generation, right, the X generation, who are now starting to be able to retire on 401ks. And as a guy that works in the industry, it's not looking that great for many of them. If they don't structure it properly, they don't make some adjustments, they don't make some changes. I'm not saying you can't do it, right? I know people who have, millions of dollars in a 401k, hundreds of thousands, high hundreds of thousands, but also millions of dollars in 401ks, right? And but there's a tax implication on those 401ks as well, right? So yeah, it's just that. And here's another thing with that wise counsel, right? So you've heard me say that numerous times. I say that about anything, really. Marriage, money, doesn't matter. But even in my marriage, right, I take wise counsel from a young man in reference to my marriage. Okay. But even in that, I have to decipher the information, because what worked for him in his marriage may not work for me. Does that make sense? Now, biblical stuff is going to work, period. That's just how that works, right? But you got to remember also, we're dealing with different personalities, different people, right? But then when it comes to money, you're dealing with different times. Times have changed. Just things are different, right? There was a time, from what I understand, my mom's parents were trying to send their children to college, or their friends rather, were sending their children to college on savings bonds, right? That's not even in the cards now, right? So can you imagine if you took the advice of one of them people? Just go get a savings bond. Man, your child, they be in rough shape when it's time to go to college, right? So you even have to pay attention to the times. Times have changed, right? our parents and grandparents had pension plans that they could rely on, and some of them had pension plans in which they didn't even pay into Social Security, right? Because they were with the railroad or they were with the CSRS in the federal government.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's just different times too. So you can't always just take even successful people, even people who've done well financially, doesn't necessarily mean you can automatically just take their advice.
Right. Their strategy may not apply to the current time.
Very good.
So yeah, makes sense. Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Well, hey, look, we can end on that note for our series, the ABCs of Wealth, Zeal and Zero. Hopefully those that have been listening got something out of it. Hey, if you need to rewatch it, take some more notes. And you can always, of course, reach out to Darren and myself. Schedule some time to get together so that you can get clear, right? We're at the end of 2021, moving into 2022. So if you want some help with setting goals financially, putting certain things in place to build a strong, solid financial foundation, hey, definitely reach out to us, get on our calendar. I actually had somebody I sat down with probably 4 or 5 years ago. I don't remember how long. And she was a friend of a friend. And, the friend had become a client. She invited her girlfriends over. They came over. I shared information with them. And I just get a text from her out the blue. Hey, I'm ready to put that in place now. You just never know, right? But you got to put those seeds. So, hey, even if you're not ready to move forward, get the information so that you can make an informed decision about what to do next.
And it's always best, for example, in me getting my second and third opinions on this back surgery, right? It's always best to get the information even before you're ready.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Get the information so you can strategize getting ready. Right? You don't wait till you feel well to go see a doctor. So, yeah, you make sure you're getting the information. So, this has been fun, Majida, and I've lost track how many times that's happened to me in my career now. Somebody just call me, text me out of the blue. Hey, you remember me? It happens so often now. It's like, right? My wife tries to play it off because it still happens to her too.
Mm-hmm.
She tries to play it out. Yeah, girl, how you doing? I just be like, no, I don't remember you.
That's why I leave names and numbers and notes in my phone. So
I do too.
If I hear from you, be like, all right, I know where the connection was made.
I do too. It was one particular client I had lost track of. So I try to keep up with him, but I totally lost track of this girl. So not only she had got divorced, remarried, and now going through another divorce.
Ooh.
Right, and had been a client since 2007. So we get to review her account. Finally, she reaches out to me on a number I don't know, on it, So but I'm excited because I remember her she was a young sailor at the time. So it was really cool. And she saw how well the account had done without her even paying attention. But I told her, hey, I'm paying attention.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you're not paying attention, but I'm paying attention. Right? Because, believe it or not, there's a vested interest in me making sure that account does well. So, but yeah, that stuff is you stay in our business long enough, it just continues to happen. And it feels fun and rewarding, quite humbling that people trust you so much with these types of things.
Absolutely. That's why I will maintain my license indefinitely, regardless of what I'm gonna keep the license, because you never know who you can be able to help out or who's gonna reach out. And so yeah, I just finished doing that AML over the weekend. You know how that is. Every year we got to get the anti-money laundering course.
Man, don't I know how it is? Yes, I do know how it is. For sure I do. Yeah. Wow.
So yes. But John, hey, as we wrap up 2021, can you share with our audience what they can expect moving forward? Right, we've been doing this now over a year. I think 16 months, about 16 months, a little bit longer with when we started the summer series. But let people know what they can look forward to in 2022, and where look for us.
I can definitely tell them we're going to be taking a break. So in the month of January, we won't be doing this at all. We're going to revamp, kind of rechange it, actually structure it a little bit differently. and even open it up for more people to be able to participate, view, share, and also make it a little bit more interactive. We do love doing this. We do love like sharing the information that we've learned over the years, and even just talking out situations and things like that. But we want to help more people. There is a purpose in us doing this. It's not just for us to hear each other talk. Of course, we love each other's company. I mean, we've been rolling together for a long time now, Majida.
Yeah.
But no, our heart's desire is to really serve people. And even if it's just one person that gets their life changed or gets a new perspective and it helps their family in the course of their generations to be better, we feel encouraged by that. So we're going to be taking the month of January off. We're going to be strategizing behind the scenes and revamping, restructuring this with some help with some colleagues of ours. And we look forward to seeing you guys back in February. But on behalf of my family, our God, we want to thank you for always, any of you who ever tune in or rewatch these. We thank you that you would take the time to listen to us. And hopefully, really, we hope you really got some value. But really, go take that information, anything that we've shared, and go apply it. Because we know it will change your lives like it's changed ours. So we thank you for this time. Thank you so much. Thank you, Majida, for being the brainchild behind this. I had nothing to do with it. I just got invited. But man, you're an amazing person, Majida, on so many different levels.
Thank you.
I mean, as a mother, I get to watch you. As a businesswoman, as a definitely somebody who's an addict of personal development, right? You almost have a problem. But I love that because that means you're aiming for excellence, right? Not perfection, but excellence. And as you know, that's one of my core values, and apparently one of yours as you care.
Yes.
So
absolutely.
Thank you for inviting me and allowing me to be here. 2021 has been a great year, but I look forward to 2022.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, John. I sincerely appreciate you taking the time away from your family. I've been asking you to do this for a while now. Take time away from your family to come do something with or for me. And I sincerely and appreciate that sacrifice of time, right? Because you don't have to do it. And for those who've had a chance to tune in and hear from you, that's just really my goal, is to give more people the opportunity to hear from you, right? Like, I'm just a facilitator. I just ask the questions, but I really have learned a lot from your experience, and you have such a wealth of knowledge on various topics. And I love that you are always in alignment with, who you are in your family, in your business, in your faith. Like, everything's in alignment. And so I think not only a lot of people, but specifically a lot of men can learn from your example. And so maybe just what is it? What do they call it? Well, what is it called? I think it starts with an F. Feeler, right? I don't know. It would change conversations. You start talking about you anyway. I don't know. No. Not men and women, but anyway, your message resonates with a lot of people, but I definitely think that it
I've been hearing that a lot over the years, that my message, and I keep telling people I don't say anything new, and they're like, yeah, but nobody says it the way you say it.
Absolutely.
Like, okay. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but
it is what it is.
I'm gonna try my best to stay in alignment with my values and who I am, and just be authentic, and who I'm for, or who's for me is for me. But hopefully people hear my heart more than the delivery. They hear that I just really care. Absolutely. And it took me a long time to get there. It was a good portion of my life that I didn't care. And now I really care about people. So thank you, Majida. This has been a great year.
It has. And to close this out, hey, go into 2022 with care, right? Apply care to your family, to your faith, to your fitness, to your finances, and to your future.
Absolutely.
And I promise you that it will make a difference. It'll definitely change your life. It's definitely been an honor for us to be here, and me to have the opportunity to engage with John on a weekly basis, but just also to like bring this information, this insight. I've definitely got a lot of feedback, and not surprisingly, but I've heard from different family members, extended family members, who've said certain things about this. And so hey, if it impacted just them, it'd been well worth it. And so I'm looking forward to what we will continue to do, whatever platform we may be on, or whatever message that we'll bring. I know we're going to continue to add value. And so hey, don't go away. Definitely stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
We will definitely be bringing some changes in 2022, and I promise you that it's going to be phenomenal, and it's definitely going to benefit you and your family moving forward. So close this out, John, and we'll wrap this up.
Hey, I pray for you guys to have a great year, great end of the year. Please be safe, right? Keep your family safe, right? And love intentionally, care intentionally, okay? Take care. Happy New Year.
Have a great one.